Now that I'm able to do a proper evaluation of the RustLegacy.org project, here we are. First thing is the green upper right hand corner when you run the game, and up here it'll say what it is. It says rust.legacy, like almost all of them do these days that you download, that are generic-ish. And as of the 21st of this month, it said MAR space 11 space 2015 space 4:45 p.m. It was in a video that I was inspired to go download it from, saying 11 MAR 2015 space 7:45 p.m., which is a bit odd, but that was on the 16th. That was at the time when the RustLegacy.org webpage would let you download the game, but only for a short period of time, and after that, the server that it was on demanded $3 to $20. Next, now the download of the server is available, and for the first couple of days, it has the same thing. You have to spend $3 to $20 to download it. The server files for Rust Legacy 2015. So, what about their server? I haven't run the server on another client program yet because of the differences I found and issues. There are very few, but I will do them in a minute. But it's a Magma server, and the server IP address ends in :6702, and okay, that's a slightly shorter number. Normally it's like a longer number. I also ran it successfully on RustUj and rust.legacy.eu servers, so it does work. On start and exit, the program may not respond quickly enough. It may say not responding more often than you might have with another client. It has a very large connect delay time at times, depending on the server. Other times, no. One of the servers decided to give me a kick violation ban for walking, but that's happened before. I've complained about it on other YouTube videos about the subject. So all in all, so far we're okay. File size expands out to 1.1 gig, but that's because it contains a couple of update files that are for patching your Windows computer if it's missing certain things. And if you have a newer version of Windows, it will be missing older files because this is an older video game from 2013. Aside from a couple of minor hiccups and that sort of thing, seems like a normal Rust Legacy client. But that's just it. It's just the Rust Legacy 2015 client. It doesn't seem to have any add-ons, patches, etc. Doesn't do anything with the graphics. It's just supposed to be a plain Jane one. Now we're going to get to the differences. Comparing it to rustlegacy.eu, which is the only site that still consistently allows for you to download the older version they had and the newer version of Rust Legacy 2015, because they had them either stored on site or then later stored off site at mega.nz, and those links still work, that sort of thing, and or you can find backup copies or whatever, and or you can just tell it to update itself if it will, or get around it by just looking up the patch download, which is a direct link to the missing 2 files you might need. Okay, and rustlegacy.eu has its quirks too. They have a lister, however, where they're listing every server that's available possible, and over the last 3 days it's been popping. There's a lot of servers available. And they work fine with their client. The 2013 one doesn't, but the 2015 and 2014 version, as well as the updated version I call the 2016 version because it updates a bunch of other files, it works. RustLegacy.org's one has files that are from the same era. The ones from rustlegacy.eu primarily are July 5th, 2015 at around 3:49 p.m. RustLegacy.org is using ones that are a little bit older from March 12th. Now here we're seeing March showing up repeatedly, and okay, so let's go on to it. The config favorites config file last entry, which is from 2015, it says, and I used WinRAR to extract it by forcing it to show me the original and new and last edit time and date stamps, assuming they haven't been falsified, which almost no one would. The server add lists rustalcad.org with the standard :28015 Rust Legacy 2015 era type port. That's common. It's common for all of them. Some of them will say, 013 for, Rust Legacy 2013 versions that still had zombies. Most of the folder content, like it, is from 2015, March 12th at 3 a.m. It appears to be 3 a.m. anyway. For bundles, Rust Data Resources, Rust Data Manage, and Rust Data Plugins. All of these are virtually identical to the 2015 version I have. There's going to be some differences between them because most of the copies people use, especially are the 2015 versions, are going to be minor incrementations between them because they were constantly updating them during 2015, which is kind of nice. By the way, if anybody's curious, most modded copies use the 2014 version of Rust Legacy because it still had enough quirks in it. You could stick in code that would make it to where you could add in things like putting the zombies back in, or put in, you might find a client that allows you to have a server with putting in one of the missing Rust Legacy rad towns, the one in the south end that's now just got a couple of metal tanks and nothing else and some rocks called the Rock Maze. You might be able to put back the whole thing, for instance. I'm not sure about it. Anybody who knows anything isn't talking. Great. Steam app ID text file says that it's set to 221100 or 221100. Most are set to 252490. This will still work because the app ID is either tolerated or ignored by the servers I checked. And again, I checked their server, which is a Magma server, with the port number 6702, and then the others that are more generic named, ones from RustUj and from rustlegacy.eu. Those are the two biggies as far as making it work with generic, vanilla, not modded clients, which is what this is. The name changer, or whatever it's going to be called, is 16 megabytes bigger than any of them that I see normally, unless they're a heavy-duty mod. But it isn't doing anything on client side that I can detect, including on their own server where they would show off any features. And when I rename it to the namechanger.exe.old so it doesn't consult it, sometimes it loads the pages faster or loads the game faster or not. I'm not really... It's kind of hard to keep that consistent, so I don't know. The luma.emu or lumaemu.ini file says that BJURJ is the last tester, so he was a play tester as well as a YouTuber that has videos on this. Lumaemu_Steam client log says the first run, was March 13th, March 13th, way late at night according to this, and let's see, 9 p.m. On the 19th. Rust data output log shows that it was about the same timing, and that was a test by someone using the account Danko. The only reason I'm mentioning that is that's what's in the log. That could be could be a test account. A lot of them say test. Some of them will say long-suffering demo master, whatever. So there's one folder, the folder for required software, that actually makes it larger than it needs to be necessarily, but it's the two main ones that people need if they're using even newer operating systems. It's the 2026 folder in there, and it says required software, but it has a desktop INI file that makes it use a special icon, and that's a no-no. You don't want to do that. On my computer, it will ignore those entirely because I've disabled those features, because this might instruct it to treat it as being something else, like a hard drive or whatever. This one says storage provider generic for the folder type. This is moderately suspicious and should be erased from within the RAR file on your next time you guys upload. The required software DirectX June 2010 redistribution one and the .NET FX or fix 3.5 setup exe are there for patching your system if it isn't already patched. And trust me, if you haven't updated your computer at all, you'll need more than this, but those are the bare minimums. The README points to a web page of rustlegacy.org/tutorial/fix Fix Rust Legacy. And a recent video uploaded by the Bjorgi, or B. George as he likes to call himself, shows it off, and it has all sorts of Q&A stuff. But the page is so convoluted in its formatting, I wasn't able to get it to load on any browser at all. I'm not sure what's going on. Maybe it needs to be dumbed down for dumb browsers like I'm using. I'm using Windows 7 and older browsers, but I'm also using a browser that can work with sites that say up and down that you're running Windows 10. I didn't bother running it through an emulator to emulate a newer operating system like Windows 10 to test it. Maybe that's a requirement. But it has a big code page, and it's essentially blank, and I archived it, and the archive says it's blank. And the thing is, if it won't archive on archive.org or archive today, that's usually a bad sign. And the whole website seems pretty aggressive about not letting itself be archived, which was a bit weird. So if you go to archive.today, and whatever it redirects you to, and put in rustlegacy.org / and then put an asterisk after it, and then have it look for every file it has, it should show that I did an archive of it recently at VC, I think it's I4T. So what are my conclusions about it? Okay, opinion only. This has nothing to do with any technical abilities. Obviously, one YouTuber and an entire YouTube channel are associated with this website that was started just a few days ago, or less than a week ago, to do a new project for Rust Legacy to be maintained, and they've uploaded, at least in a fashion, at first and now completely cleanly, a copy of Rust Legacy, the game you can download. And it is missing some features I'm used to, because I'm used to doing ones that, you know, you hit the letter M and you get a map and that sort of thing. But other than that, it seems perfectly serviceable. It doesn't seem to be modified that much at all. And the only things concerning at all was a preference set for a folder or a slightly larger name changer than it needs to be. So I didn't run it. I immediately renamed it. And even when I left it named correctly, that didn't seem to speed it up or anything. In fact, it seemed to run faster when it wasn't named correctly. And a minor weirdness with the upper right-hand Rust Legacy banner, having it in a format that's a bit odd, but then again, I've seen that before, so that's not a big deal. So my actual conclusion about it is, this seems to be a bog standard copy of Rust Legacy 2015 that's only got a few mods or alterations to it that would be explained by it being one of many versions that hasn't been completely archived and reused to death like I'd seen it a dozen times. But on the server itself had just me on it. It's a new project, obviously. It would be nice if they released the server files on, I don't know, one of the other 3 downloader sites they're using now for the game now, the server. But it does appear to be a standard Rust Legacy 2015 server and client combo that is downloadable. I made videos about how you can download the server and the client before. You just have to look up server and client at all on either of my YouTube channels, and you'll find a video where I talk about downloading and testing them. Currently, there are ones for 2013, 2014, 2015, and 2016. They do exist, the server and client, mostly, except kind of not. And there are others that are, you know, Magma server, Favourite server, that sort of thing, various projects. They're using a Magma server. I'm pretty sure they're not going to have you download their configured version of the Magma server. Oh, good Lord, this is why I don't cover subjects. I need more coffee. The tongue doesn't work. So anyway, so the conclusion of this, okay, it's a way to get a download of it. But again, the website kind of bad taste in my mouth. Maybe that's why I can't talk. Originally, the download for it would run you through loops and harass you. Originally, it would go to a website that then eventually demanded $3 or $20, depending on how you wanted to pay for it. And it's now doing that with the server version that wasn't available yesterday. I checked every few hours and gave up. So yeah, that's a thing. It doesn't add much extra to it, but it's yet another download source. And I hope this project continues to grow and prosper. I was going to do a video today about a really promising, yet another really promising project that brought all sorts of features in that we desperately need, and then they just evaporated because they made it dependent on their server never going down, which is exactly what killed the game in the first fucking place. Anyway, thanks for watching. Have a good day. Good luck with that. I guess it's a okay download. cautiously. Bye.